of Food Processing Technology, Tamil Nadu. We have a very distinguished keynote speaker, Dr. Manoj Kumar Tripathi, who is Principal Scientist in Agro Produce Processing Division of ICAR, Central Institute of Agricultural Engineering, Madhya Pradesh, and Dr. Shashikant Sarangam, who is Head Food Trading Laboratory, School of Food Technology, Jawaharlal Nehru Technology University, Kakinada, Andhra Pradesh. So I welcome you all, and on this platform, I must share that after a gap of 2 years of pandemic, the Center for Innovation and Incubation Cell, after which I'm looking after this cell, and after the gap of these 2 years of pandemic, we have again restarted, and uh, we are doing a number of projects. And hopefully, on the Science Day, we'll be actually displaying the innovative ideas of our students. And of course, to share with our guests, this university has a history not very far history. Just 2 years back, our students have got national awards in the in this area of innovation and incubation. So, we are trying our best to, you know, nurture all the activities at the center, starting from the ideation and developing a prototype, and then we plan, liaising with the industries and so on and so forth. So this topic is really wonderful today. For which we have distinguished speakers. This we know agriculture and allied sector is the backbone of our Indian society, and India has seen a transition towards the growth of telecommunication and information sectors since 1990s, and which has been a very big driving force towards the entrepreneurship and innovation, which has contributed in a big way, resulting in a wave of change, whether you talk about the clean tech or finance side or medical side or agriculture side. So this interface of agriculture with technology, it has induced entrepreneurship, and it has resulted in increased competition. Not only competition, the digitization and innovation to solve various challenges in this particular sector. Now the country is preparing itself for agri-innovation revolution, and this requires certainly a balanced mix of technology, policy, as well as entrepreneurship spirit. This would certainly lead to newer innovations, and it will bring a considerable shift in Indian agriculture practices. And this would not only leverage technological efficiencies, but also it will give access to the markets for farmers and the produce. So we hear of startups very often in this sector, but these startups, they make use of technological drivers such as we have artificial intelligence, we have machine learning, robotics, satellite communication, Internet of Things, and so on and so forth. And all these technological drivers, they will certainly serve farmers' need. And I believe that private sector led entrepreneurship, transformative technology, and favorable policies will ensure a great paradigm shift in the sector. So we are aware of novel practices which are being followed to grow the crops these days, such as aeroponics, hydroponics, desert agriculture, seawater farming. So these are all alternatives which have developed very recently in the past 1 decade in India. And also we hear of vertical and urban farms. They have made their way into our campuses, onto our rooftops, the skyscrapers, and even the shipping containers are being used to significantly reduce the amount of water and fertilizers which are needed to grow the food, and even the food sharing and crowdfunding initiatives are popping up around the world, which is reducing the food waste and so on and so forth. So we have a great experts among us, and let us all benefit from them. So I believe, and I request all the participants, especially the students, to actually have a paper and pen in their hand and note down, whatever they can grab from this webinar, this wonderful webinar which we have organized. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you.
ma'am, for the official inception of today's event. अब मेरा अनुरोध है कि श्रीमान अक्षत कांत जी, इंजीनियर, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजीनियरिंग, CUH, माननीय कुलपति महोदय जी का के कुशल व्यक्तित्व का व्याख्यान दें।
थैंक यू वेरी मच आदिति, आपका बहुत बहुत आभार। मेरी आवाज आप तक जा रही है? आदिति, आई एम ऑडिबल?
हाँ जी अक्षत, आप ऑडिबल हैं।
सविनीय स्वागत व अभिनंदन आज के कार्यक्रम के मुख्य अतिथि आदरणीय डॉक्टर जिया चिंतला सर, माननीय अध्यक्ष राष्ट्रीय कृषि और ग्रामीण विकास बैंक भारत सरकार का, जिनकी अतुल्य प्रशासनिक क्षमता व प्रगतिशील विचारधारा व देश के प्रति समर्पण की भावना एक सशक्त नेतृत्वकर्ता और मार्गदर्शन की साक्षी है। स्वागत के इस आभारी श्रृंखला में मैं सहृदय से अभिनंदन करता हूँ डॉक्टर CR आनंद कृष्णा सर का, निदेशक भारतीय खाद्य प्रसंस्करण प्रौद्योगिकी संस्थान तमिलनाडु का। साथ ही अभिनंदन है हमारे मुख्य संरक्षक माननीय कुलपति प्रोफेसर टंकेश्वर कुमार सर का, विश्वविद्यालय के प्रथम महिला आदरणीय प्रोफेसर सुनीता श्रीवास्तव मैम का, डॉक्टर राजेश कुमार दुबे सर का, प्रमुख विद्युत अभियंत्रण विभाग का, डॉक्टर दिनेश चहल सर का, डॉक्टर मनीष कुमार सर का, डॉक्टर मुरलीधर नायक भूकिया सर का, डॉक्टर तेजपाल देवा सर का, इंजीनियर निशान सिंह सर का, मिस्टर शिवम ठाकुर जी का, एवं अभिनंदन है समस्त अधिकारीगण, शैक्षणिक, गैर शैक्षणिक व तकनीकी सहकारियों का। I, Akshat Khan from Department of Electrical Engineering is here to introduce a very positive personality, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Tankeshwar Kumar sir. Sir has joined our family and took the charge as the Vice Chancellor of Central University of Haryana just few months ago. Sir is a beacon of academic excellence and epitome of administrative discipline. Sir has held several key positions in academic as well as administrative in different institutions in the past 31 years. Sir has did his graduation from Kurukshetra University, post-graduation and postdoctorate from Punjab University, Chandigarh. Sir also did postdoctorate from ICTP, Italy. Sir is basically working in condensed matter physics and nanotechnology for the past 14 years. Sir is in administration since last 17 years in various roles. Sir was the Associate Dean of Punjab Technical University, Jalandhar, Director of Computer Center, Punjab University from 2005 to 2014. In the year 2015, Sir has started his academic journey in the capacity of Vice Chancellor of Guru Jambheshwar University, Hisar. Time to time, he has been additional in charge as Vice Chancellor of different universities such as Tikras Murthal, Chaudhry Bansila University, Bhiwani. Sir, some of your additional responsibilities are Pattern, Vigyan Bharati Hisar, Haryana, Member, Executive Council, Deen Bandhu Chotu Ram University of Science and Technology, Murthal, Sonipat, Member, Academic Council of CEC, UGC Delhi, and many more. Sir is the author of more than 147 research papers, out of which 85 of them are international level, which fetch more than 700 citations. Sir is a recipient of many awards in his lifetime. To name a few, such as Vidyasagar Award by Indian Institute of Oriental Heritage in the year 2017, Lifetime Achievement Award by Society of Analytic Chemists in the year 2016. Sir is also the first UGC professor in our country under FRP. Sir, in your region, Guru Jambheshwar University got 94th rank in NRIF, sir. Sir, your achievements are not limited only to this, but there are many more feathers on your crown, sir. Sir has also fetched grant of about 10 crore from Pursue, Promotion of University Research and Scientific from DST, New Delhi, and from Rashtriya Uch Shiksha Abhiyan grant of about 21 crore and a grant of around 7 crore from TEQIP 3 World Bank during his tenure in Guru Jambheshwar University. Sir,
Thank you, Akshat. Thank you.
always remains student pratham, which shows how much you are connected about the problem, sir. Sir, without wasting time, I request you to please come forward and enlighten us with your kind words. Please, sir.
Yeah, I think that's better. Yeah. So thank you, Akshat. I really appreciate the effort being carried out by our departments, Center of Innovation and Incubation Cell, and all others department which are joining today hands, especially the Department of Electrical Engineering and NSS. In fact, this center is for all. You know, I really cannot think of any university today without such an effort. Without talking about innovation, incubation, and then taking to the startup, and obviously the technology transfer. And I cannot think of a university without all these things. Right? The university purpose is essentially to see that, if we talk of the industry 4.0, then I say it's education 5.0, because education has to be ahead of the industry, because we have this, we have the industry first. We have the industry first, then the education, because we require the trained manpower. That's why we open up the universities, or to say the institutes. But the universities and the technical institutes, especially, they have to be innovative and they have to lead the industries, so that the innovations can progress. As I said earlier, also, that without innovation, the world will not progress at all. And that is what we have seen. Those countries who are innovating, if you look at their innovative index, so innovative index goes along with their whatever we look at is their development criteria. So today we are looking at a different step. This university, we have earlier talked about how the innovation things are going to change worlds, and now last week they have something about the IPR, and all these things are related. And today we are looking at the way how we can looking for the technology transfer, and that too very important field. I see the India can contribute a lot to the health sector, in the agriculture sector. These are the two areas where the India can contribute immediately, in the sense. So even if we develop something today, we can launch tomorrow in the market, right? But where there are, if you look at the other field, if you look at, for example, the communication, or the computer, if these things are there, okay, software are there, but hardware, it is still very difficult for Indians, to really contribute to innovation immediately to the industry, right? So these the health sector, and you know agriculture are the two fields which I see that where we can immediately contribute. And today we are having the experts on experts on these fields, and I really thankful to Dr. G.R. Chintalaji and C. Ramakrishnan ji, and our Manoj Kumar Tripathi ji, who is going to talk about such things related to the the agro produce, as well as other ways of how we can transfer the technology. So I know this program is being organized with the my colleagues, like Dr. Rajesh Kumar Dubey, Dr. Dinesh Chahal. I can also see our Dean Academic Affairs, and Pawan Moria, and Tejpal Deva, and Muralidhar Nayak, and my I will say Dr. Engineer Nishant Singh, and my students like Engineer Akshat Kant and Shivam Kumar, those who are contributing to this workshop. And I really appreciate the effort being carried out by all of you. This is a collaboration with various departments. I can now see that we can really make a innovation and innovation center, and also we have another like entrepreneurship cell is there where we can look out the business models without really going for developing something without incubation. I mean, there could be some idea which can immediately lead to the business, so that can be converted into the entrepreneurship. And we are looking that something will come out this out of these centers very soon, and we are progressing very fast. With these words, I once again thank my today's the speakers, the guests, for sparing their time, valuable time, to address our students and our faculty. Thank you very much. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
माननीय कुलपति महोदय जी का सहृदय धन्यवाद। इस विश्वविद्यालय के प्रति आपकी सकारात्मक भावना का हम तहे दिल से सम्मान करते हैं सर। Now, moving ahead, it's time for the address of our chief guest for the day. But before that, I request Dr. Rajesh Kumar Dubey, Head, Department of Electrical Engineering, CUH, to brief us with the attributes and much adorned profile of Dr. G.R. Chintala, sir.
Namaskar, namaskar, sir. Good morning, you all. Good morning to our honorable chief guest of the webinar, Dr. G.R. Chintala, sir, Chairman NABARD. Our guest of honor, Dr. C. Anand Ramakrishnan, sir, Director, Indian Institute of Food Processing Technology, Tamil Nadu. Our chief patron, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Tankeshwar Kumar, sir ji, Professor Sunita Srivastav, ma'am, Convener, Innovation and Incubation Cell, Dr. Dinesh Chahal, Dr. Manish Kumar, Dr. Murlidhar Naik Bhukya, Dr. Tej Baldeva, Engineer Nishan Singh, Program Coordinator, Engineer Akshat Kant, and our esteemed Deans, HODs, TICs, and all the other distinguished dignitaries from the India. It is with great pleasure that I welcome Honorable Chief Guest of the Day, Dr. G.R. Chintala, sir. Dr. G.R. Chintala is the current chairman of National Bank of Agriculture and Rural Development, NABARD. Prior to taking over as chairman, Dr. Chintala was the managing director of NABARD Financial Services, NAFINS Limited. Dr. Chintala is a postgraduate from the prestigious Indian Agriculture Research Institute, New Delhi. He joined NABARD as an officer and worked in various capacities at the head office, Mumbai, and regional offices including Hyderabad, Chandigarh, Lucknow, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, New Delhi, and Bengaluru. He was also the Vice President of Agribusiness Finance Limited, Hyderabad, and the Director of Bankers Institute of Rural Development, BIRD, Lucknow. Apart from this work, he is also the Chairman of NABARD Consultancy Services, NABCons Limited, NAB Venture Limited, and NAB Foundation. He is on the board of prestigious institutions like Institute of Rural Management, IRMA, DICGC, and on the advisory board of IIM Ahmedabad. Dr. Chintala takes over chairmanship of Asia Pacific Rural and Agricultural Credit Association, APASA, in March 2021. The last chairmanship India got was in 1999, which is almost 20 years back. This was the proud moment of the nation. He has a vast experience of over 35 years in NABARD. His key initiatives includes the digitization of the world's largest microfinance program under project E-Shakti, roadmap of amalgamation of regional rural banks, promoting and nurturing farmer producers organization, FPOs, livelihood enterprise development program, area development schemes, and alternative energy models. He has visited over 20 countries, including USA, China, European nations, Bolivia, Brazil, Kenya, Senegal, Indonesia, etc. for presenting papers and other different assignments. It is a proud moment for our institution that Dr. Govinda Raju Chindala sir will grace the webinar with his presence. We request you, sir, to enlighten us with our golden words. Sir, please. Thank you to all.
Thank you. Am I audible? Hope I am audible.
Yes, sir. Morning, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. So, good morning to all, and it's a real proud privilege to be in the midst of such a galaxy of performers in the academic field, and also the students of that Central University of Haryana, and also others who have logged in. It's really very nice on the part of the university to organize a seminar on this a very important topic of the day, as agriculture had performed the best in the last 2 years when compared to any other sector in the pandemic. So I feel that actually it's a real greatness on the part of the university to have identified this topic, and also trying to kickstart a kind of a technology transfer in agriculture and allied sectors so that the values can be added to the same sector which was there from since time immemorial. So at the outset, I would like to congratulate Central University of Haryana for organizing this national webinar on innovation and technology transfer in agriculture and allied sectors. It's a great honor to be in this university which has been disseminating knowledge for the advancement of our country and providing essential linkage between academia and industry. Center for Innovation and Incubation at Central University has been playing an important role in providing the appropriate ecosystem for innovation in different domains, including agriculture. As we celebrate the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav to mark the 75th year of India's independence and enter into the Amrit Kal, that is the next 25 years we are going to be in the Amrit Kal, it is the most opportune moment to think over and discuss various contemporary issues related to the Indian agriculture, then the role of technology and innovation in harnessing the true potential of the agriculture sector and its right place in the Indian economy. Innovation and technology transfer has been playing an important role in helping mitigate many challenges and fostering the advancement of the societies around the globe. You all can recall Joseph Schumpeter's saying, who propounded a theory of creative destruction, as innovations that increase productivity, incessantly destroying the old one and incessantly creating a new one. Now, Corona is one such kind of thing, though actually it's very bad for the nation, the world, but it had really propelled quite a lot of technology developments all over in every sphere of the life. So in India also, when food production growth at 2.8% was outpaced by population growth between 1951 and 61, that is immediately after independence, and we were forced into importing food, the research and extension unleashed by Government of India and various states and agriculture universities had helped ushering in green revolution. Here, I would like to just take a pause and try to tell really about really what happened with the kind of a green revolution. Before I go into the topic, I would first like to thank Dr. Tankeshwar Kumar and Mrs. Sunita ma'am and also other faculties who had taken pains to organize such a beautiful seminar with the topics which are very contemporary. And I had a great link with Haryana as I worked for 5 years in the Chandigarh regional office. And I used to go around almost all the districts of Haryana, including Mahendragarh. Then I know the travels of the people who are in the field and sometimes not having technology always incapacitates them to produce something much bigger than it. So that is where I think this kind of a technology transfer and the innovations always help. So now here I would like to put a context, because for all the people who are listening to this one, many of you may not be fully aware as to what NABARD is and really what exactly it does. NABARD, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, is an offshoot of the post-Green Revolution developments. Actually, the Green Revolution things are still going on, but if you really look into it, between 1965 to 1971, so that a rapid growth of a new varieties and also irrigation things happened. Subsequent irrigation development was taking place. But the government of India had made so many things in consultation with the Reserve Bank of India to put the credit as one of the most important thing to propel this kind of agricultural growth. Without credit, actually, that today we could not have witnessed the same kind of a productivity and also production as what we are seeing today. Now, here as an offshoot of all these kinds of things, that the regional rural banks have been created, then commercial banks were asked to go into the rural areas in a big way. So the branch expansion in 1975 onwards till almost till 2000, everything had happened in the rural areas so that the credit can be seamless and more farmers can be put into the credit net. Why? Because all these things were not happening before 1970. If you look into the statistics in 1970, hardly 0.2% of the total bank credit was going to agriculture, and many of the farmers were almost out of the credit net. But having realized that to have a very high level of agriculture and a productivity kind of a thing, actually there is a need to invest, and that investment comes from the credit. So that is where the institutions have been created. So looking into the necessity of having a very big centralized kind of a developmental financial institution to propel the agricultural growth, Government of India, under an Act of Parliament, had formed NABARD, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, in 1982. And in the last 40 years, NABARD had done wonderful work with regard to the rural credit scenario, with regard to the policy advocacy, with regard to the innovations, with regard to creating new and innovative kind of a products, whether it is SHGs, joint liability groups, or maybe RIDF kind of an instrument, then FPOs, or maybe so many things actually what you are witnessing today in the country. All of them are rolled out, including a Kisan credit card. All of things were rolled out, designed and rolled out by NABARD. And today, actually, the entire banking industry and also others in the sector, they take note of it and also they use it. So now NABARD started in 1982 with just 4,000 crores of the first balance sheet size. The year 2021, we have closed the balance sheet with 6.57 lakh crores. And now, one more thing which I would like to say is that NABARD is the biggest infra builder of the rural areas. Actually, we support the state governments with the utmost concessional finance for creating the rural infrastructure with regard to the maybe irrigation dams or the minor irrigation dams, canal systems, drip irrigation systems, rural roads, connectivity, then agricultural infrastructure, and maybe you just name anything, all of these things will do. Every year we give substantial amounts, close to around 40-50,000 crores every year at a very, very concessional rate to the state governments to create such kind of a thing. So now, having been an agricultural student and also as a development banker, and now speaking as chairman of this developmental financial institution of the country, actually I have a very strong kind of a belief that Indian agriculture has done wonders so far, but Indian agriculture can do so many wonders in future, because we are yet to tap the potential of the processing, we are yet to tap the potential of logistics, we are yet to tap the potential of the new productivity tools, we are yet to tap the potential of the new innovations that are really unveiling right now in the horizon. So that is where actually I feel that we have a great amount of a role for all of us to play in this Amrit Kal, that is the next 25 years, to put India on a very high pedestal. So in recent times, agriculture is witnessing the penetration of technology and artificial intelligence in the sector. Use of drones, weather predictors, satellite imaging, mobile applications, automated machinery, then AI-enabled planting and weeding equipments, automated irrigation and harvesting. All these things are happening. So now, as I told, as a student of agriculture, I keep very close touch with the developments that are taking place in this field. And today, that if you look into the papers that are coming from abroad, even the people are now going away from that animal meat and trying to go into that plant-based meat, cell culture meat, and so many things are happening. And many of the big multinationals already started dishing out their products with regarding to the burgers and others with the plant-based kind of a meat, and which is becoming a successful one. So now we have a very great role to play, because today India is producing substantial quantities of the basic food, whether they are the cereals, pulses, oil seeds, or maybe anything. But thing is, the time has come for us to go into a kind of a value addition and also put more money into the hands of the farmer. So that is where I think this kind of a seminar will give quite a lot of an insight to all of us as to really how to move forward. So really, I would just like to put the context as to really what is the Indian agricultural contribution to the GVA. Now, actually, if you look into the entire statistics, maybe at the time of independence, almost 70% of that Indian GDP was contributed by agriculture, but slowly it started coming down. And in 2015-16, actually, it had gone down to a level of 15% of the GDP. So actually, the pie size has gone up. Agriculture was also growing, but at the same time, the other sectors, as my previous speakers were telling, whether it is the mobile, electronics, transport, or so many other things, they have taken over, and actually their growth was phenomenal. So actually that is why the services sector and others were having a much bigger portion. But the recent pandemic had given a very big kind of a lesson to everyone, that despite having 15% share in the GDP, agriculture sector is as to really how the FPOs are performing. And across the states, we found that the income levels of the farmers in FPOs have gone up from 40 to 60 FPOs. So now this is the one, I think, which probably the university also should look into it, really how the FPOs under your area are functioning. You can expose your students and you can see really what more innovations can be created with the FPOs. So that will be a lesson to all of us. And the moment actually you transfer that kind of a knowledge to institutions like NABARD, we will again relook into the policies, existing policies, and try to do it. The other one actually, which will say is the innovations, is that the credit system also has to be revamped. Now, all of you are aware that agricultural credit is provided by commercial banks, regional rural banks, and also the cooperative societies. Commercial banks have got their own technological finesses, so actually we need not do. But regional rural banks and cooperatives actually are given quite a lot of a hand holding by NABARD to go into this kind of thing. Now here I would like to say, since you are all from the rural areas also, you must have seen that primary agricultural societies at the ground level, which have got the highest connect with the farmer who was associated with that. But at the same time, these societies are not able to give quite a lot of a benefit to the farmers, as they are constrained with regard to the infrastructure or the capital. So that is where NABARD had come out with a scheme called that, converting these primary agricultural societies into the multi-activity, multi-service centers, so that they are going to give one-stop shop kind of a support to the farmers. And that is going to again bring a big amount of a synergy in the ecosystem. Then what are the other things actually right now we are witnessing? Actually now, with all the technological things which we are all talking about, the one thing which we cannot ignore is the climate change. Actually, climate change is real, it's affecting, and we ourselves are witnessing really as to really how it is really changing the entire agricultural patterns. Now, I would like to give one or two examples. Now, take the case that Indian southwest monsoon has to cease by September 25th or 26th. But now, in the last 3-4 years, it is getting extended almost up to October 15th or maybe October end. And this time it has gone up even to November. In that process, all the crops which have come to the harvest during that period, they all got wet, and they are maybe in that way actually spoilage is very high. So now these are the things which we are witnessing quite a lot. And also that take the case of mango crop, take the case of others. Now even today in many of the mango producing states, even today that the fog and also everything is so high, the flowering itself is not happening. So now actually things are changing in a little different way. So now we cannot ignore it. So now the time has come for all of us to look into this climate related kind of studies. And here one is the mitigation, the other one is the adaptation. Mitigation is the happening at a global level and also at a national level. It is a intersectoral. Actually, it can come from that reducing the fossil fuel consumption to maybe doing all the other things. But at the same time, the adaptation is within the hands of the researchers and also the farmers. So the institutions have to roll out that kind of an adaptation technology with regard to the new cropping patterns and also the technologies. So that is where I think we say that the transfer of technology from lab to land and also the research is very, very important. Now here, one more thing I would like to say that now that solar power has become ubiquitous, now this is one area which will create a better kind of a thing in the climate change also, because the fossil fuel consumption will come down substantially. Now here, the farmers really how they can be made a kind of a important players in that solar power generation. So now quite a lot of things people talk about, but thing is actually one has to invest money to see really how it works. Now, when I saw your campus, actually you have 100 kilowatts of solar power. That is very good. Now every institution is having, because we have a space and also we have money to do this one. But thing is at farmers level, really how he can do. So now, without sacrificing his agricultural production, we have to find a via media how the farmers can produce the solar power, and the solar power can become a third crop for him. So now as a part of our research, actually we have a kind of a climate change fund. Actually as part of it, we gave a kind of a project for the KVK, that is a Krishi Vignan Kendra, Ujwa, that is near Delhi. So we gave a grant, and there that solar trees were established all over 1 acre of land, and so now at a height, so that the crops can be grown in the normal way, and at the same time quite a lot of a power is being generated which is supplied to the grid. So now the power generated in the preliminary estimates we found was that they are able to generate around 90,000 to 1 lakh worth of power per year, and that itself is a great amount of an income to the farmer besides his normal crop production. So now these are all the things which are happening, and the university can look into it in a very big way also, so as to really how this kind of a things to be done. Likewise, there should be some kind of a social innovations also. Now actually the farmers should be aggregated. One is into the FPOs, but thing is to get the loans from the banks, the tenant farmers are otherwise not able to get any loans from the banks. Actually they should be organized into the joint liability groups, and which is happening. But thing is that is one way of doing it one. Now the topic which we are talking about is that agri-tech, actually really how the new agricultural technology is coming in a big way. Actually I could see at many places quite a lot of developments are taking place with regard to the agro technology. Whether people in the financial institutions and academia are still taking note, but the farmer himself is a big innovator, and he always tries to look at as to really where the technology is available. So now actually mobile he has adapted so fast. There are so many farmers in Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu where that mobile is connected to that pump set, so that he can operate the pump from his home instead of going there at the mid of the night and having a kind of a problem. So now this is a very small innovation, but today quite a lot of things are happening with regard to that AI related kind of things, where the robotics kind of things have already come into agriculture, and also the drones. Actually we have given some research projects to few of the universities where we found that drones really how the many more and more activities of agriculture can be brought into the this kind of a drone related kind of a thing. Actually, we found that the way that drones started surveying the lands and also surveying the crop for the pestilence, so that really appropriate a pesticide spraying can happen in that field, and that too this pesticide spraying also can be very focused and directed as to at which level and at what kind of a precision actually it can be done. And the other thing is with regard to the cost of the entire operation. Now we have seen the direct seeding of paddy is now happening in many places. Now the direct seeding of paddy, generally we use the seed drills, and that also takes almost close to around a half a day or maybe more than a half a day to do 1 acre of the operations. But the drones, which we have seen one of the projects, the entire operation can get finished in just 6 minutes at a cost of around 5 to 600 rupees. Now imagine today that cost of cultivation of the farmer, the substantial cost is with regard to this kind of operation, sowings and also the labor cost pertaining to that. So now these things can be minimized and the farmer's income can be increased. So now this is one area which we should do. And also the other thing is better harvesting, whether really, because now the quality consciousness has gone up to such a level, whether the drones related kind of a surveys can give whether the crop has been matured and really whether it is harvest ready and what kind of things can be done. These are all the things which are going to be the future, which we have seen. So that drones, now with that, Government of India, actually, I am very happy with the way the policy has been devised even before the budget and also the announcement made in the budget. The policy before the budget says that the scheme says that almost 100% up to 10 lakhs can be given to the universities, KVKs and others for the drone purchase and doing the experimentation. And also there is a concession finance to the, or maybe the subsidies to the FPOs and a few other people. So now the government of India is encouraging the drones in a very big way. And we are trying to look into it actually what more and more activities can be brought into that kind of a drone related kind of a thing, so that the farmers, FPOs, everybody will get quite a lot of things. The next one which is making waves in the entire thing is the blockchain technology. Probably as an academia, you may be knowing it. Now we have seen actually one of the FPOs of us had adopted the blockchain technology for the banana cultivation and also to this one. So with that blockchain technology, they started getting almost 3 times the kind of a return when they are exporting the same banana to the same country. Now earlier when they were releasing close to around $1.5 per kilo, now straight away they started getting around $4 to $4.5 because the traceability has become very easy and the buyers have got the confidence. So now this blockchain technology is becoming ubiquitous everywhere. And the entire agriculture, I can say that in the next maybe 10 years, 20 years, when the Indian agriculture is going to be the topmost in the entire world and exports are going to be very big, I think blockchain technology will become a backbone for all these things to ensure that kind of a traceability and the quality. So that is where we are really looking into it, into this one anything. Likewise, now that the other part is with regard to the natural resources management. This is also one area because the agricultural production is one area actually it has got an interaction with the bio and also non-bio. Now, when the crop growth has to be there, initially when we were putting urea, the growth was very good. And particularly in the initial years of Green Revolution, the factor productivity was very high for the same amount of fertilizer. But today the factor productivity has plateaued. And now the soil's original productivity has gone down and they are getting deserted. So now the time has come for us to rejuvenate the soils and maybe safeguard that natural resources. So now in this process, not only NABARD is doing quite a lot of a work, but others also are doing quite a lot of things where we are trying to bring this kind of a thing into this one. So the next part is with regard to that entrepreneurship in the agriculture. Now the startups, actually already the previous, both the speakers have spoken about this entire thing. Now the startups have become a reality and the startups are doing so well. When the country is having around 60 to 70,000 startups in the overall, but the agriculture itself is having 1,500 startups. And they are doing quite a lot of innovative things, actually, which every normal universities and others were not able to think of at such a small scale. Actually, these people were able to attend to such problems, create solutions, bring a group of farmers to use it at a kind of a whatever be the fee they charge, but at the same time giving quite a lot of a benefit to the thing. So now these startups and entrepreneurship is becoming a very big kind of thing. So here the youth are right now are looking into this kind of an entrepreneurship with regard through the startups. And here, that maybe creating some kind of a hackathons as to really how which technology will work so well. All those things also will enable more and more people to compete and come out with the kind of a technology. So now the time has come for us to leverage the strength of all these agripreneurs, entrepreneur, and then the agriculture is the agripreneur. Actually, this entrepreneurship in the agriculture, we have to nurture it. Now, farmer is no more just a cultivator. Farmer is an entrepreneur. Farmer is also a private businessman. Farmer is a techno savvy man, and farmer has to make quite a lot of a profit also. If all these things have to be there, we have to do something on this kind of an entrepreneurship where we have to have a kind of a seamless kind of an interactions with the forward and backward linkages, and that is where I think all of us has to work. So now here some of the incubation centers, whether it is by RCR, maybe something by NABARD, and also like universities like yours, actually these incubation centers are doing a great job, because the incubatees who are coming and brimming with the new ideas, actually they're all being brought into this kind of a thing. Hand holding is done for a substantial time, and subsequently the innovations are also becoming commercial. So now that we have so far given some kind of assistance to some 7 agribusiness incubation centers, and one is there in Haryana also, in the Agriculture University Haryana, Hisar, and also that there are many others are there. So this is one area which I will say that now more and more funding has to be rooted to this kind of incubation centers. The other one is that having seen that incubations and also the startups, the basic problem that comes, actually it is a very normal, very well documented also. There is a kind of a valley of death or death valley, because after some time the funding will stop and the entrepreneurs will be left high and dry. So that time we need to have some kind of a assistance to them. So NABARD, we have created a catalytic capital fund for supporting such kind of a rural and agri startups. And also NABARD is having a subsidiary called NAB Ventures, which give the venture capital to the growth equity funds and also to that kind of innovations. So far, we have supported around 10, or we have participated in around 10 kind of ventures, and we see that the growth is phenomenal. So now, so that I will say that we have come of the age that Indian agriculture was no more a dhoti clad farmer, which we used to see in the pictures earlier. Now actually he is a tech savvy farmer who is well versed with the kind of a technology, with the kind of a developments that are taking place, with the kind of entrepreneurial skills, and at the same time very well focused on really how to improve the productivity and also the profitability. So that is where I think now the technology is happening. So now I will just say, because I think I had taken maybe almost close to around 35-40 minutes, so I just like to conclude by saying that we are having greatest potential, but still we are exploiting at the sub below potential of our entire potential of this country, because we can do quite a lot of things. And so in case in this phase of this kind of a below potential agricultural production, we need to go into the innovative technologies, as we were telling about so many things, IoT, robotics, maybe drones and all those things. But at the same time, in the cultivation also, it should be like the polyhouse cultivation, the hydroponics, aeroponics, vertical farming. All those things are already now many people are experimenting, or some people have commercialized. So now things are happening in a very big way. But now the time has come to look into it even much more, and also give them the assistance also. So now that banking sector is also giving quite a lot of a support to such kind of innovations. So now looking into the way the agriculture research is happening, and also the education is also happening. So now I will say that there should be a kind of a intermingling of everything, that research followed by that extension to the field, and coupled with the financing by the institutions, banking institutions and developmental financial institutions. This is a very good formula for propelling the Indian agriculture from the present level to a maybe stratosphere. And I am extremely confident, because having seen agricultural production at around 170 million tons when I joined my BS agriculture, to something like around 310 million tons of food grains, and from almost near 40 million tons of fruits to 330 million tons of fruits and vegetables, and cotton at abysmally low level to that globally now we have become the biggest cotton producer. Likewise, oil seeds and everything, and so many other sugar and everything. So now I will say that we still have so much of a potential to further exploit, to further grow vertically, and at the same time to further improve and refine our processing ability so that the wastage can be reduced. And finally, by doing all the things, we will still make the farmer to become profitable and encourage him to stay in the farming. That is our endeavor, and I hope that Academy also working on the same kind of a thing. So thank you all for giving me this great opportunity to talk to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable insights in the functioning of NABARD. We believe that through the Innovation Center developing in our university, our youth will surely join hands at solving the problem of technology deficit, finance management, and business building in the field of agriculture. Thank you, sir. Now, moving ahead, I request Dr. Murlidhar Nayak Bhukia, Assistant Professor, Department of Electrical Engineering, to introduce our guest of honor for the day.
Namaste, sir. On behalf of Central University of Haryana, Center for Innovation and Incubation Cell, I would like to welcome Dr. C. Anand Ramakrishnan, Director, NIFTIM Tanjavuru, on board for the national webinar on innovation and technology transfer in agriculture allied sectors. Coming to the brief biodata of Director Sir, Dr. Anand Ramakrishnan Sir is presently the Director of National Institute of Food Technology, Entrepreneurship and Management, known as NIFTIM, at Tanjavuru, an institute of national importance formerly known as Indian Institute of Food Processing Technology from 2016. Before being appointed as the Director of IIFPT, he was the Principal Scientist and Coordinator for the Academy of Scientific and Innovation Research at CSIR CFTRI. He is having more than 2 decades of experience in research and administration. He obtained BTech in Chemical Engineering from AC Tech Anna University, Chennai, and completed MTech at Anna University, Chennai. He has done his doctoral research in Chennai in chemical engineering with a specialization in food engineering at Loborg University of United Kingdom. Dr. Anand Ramakrishnan is an active researcher with more than 2 decades of experience in research and administration. His research endeavors are well documented in more than 160 publications with an average impact factor of 5.17. Having 2 international patents and 7 Indian patents, he is also the author of several textbooks and 68 book chapters published by publishers. He has supervised 13 PhD scholars and more than 50 bachelor and master theses. Dr. Ananda Ramakrishnan is the elected fellow of National Academy of Sciences, fellow of National Academy of Agriculture Sciences, fellow of Royal Society of Chemistry, fellow of Royal Society of Biology, fellow of Association of Food Scientists and Technologists, and the Institute of Engineers. He is a member of several professional committees of autonomous body under Government of India. He also serves as editorial board member for reputed journals and as member of board of studies in various academic institutions. Dr. Anand Ramakrishnan was awarded the prestigious ICAR Rafi Ahmad Kidwadi Award for Outstanding Research in Agricultural Sector in 2019. He was awarded Tata Innovation Fellowship in 2019 and 20 by DBT, Government of India. He was also awarded the National Design Award 2019 for outstanding contribution by the Institution of Engineers, National Design and Research Forum. He is also the recipient of the prestigious NACS Reliance Industries Platinum Jubilee Award in 2018 and the AIFPA Special Platinum Jubilee Award for the development of food processing technology and innovation in 2018. He is also announced for the Tamil Nadu State Scientist Award in 2018 by the Tamil Nadu State Council for Science and Technology. I humbly request Director Sir to join the webinar. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, and really it's a pleasure to meet you all under this platform COVID has made one thing is possible. I could not travel this time to this your place, but I can able to meet everyone to share what I have the thought about Indian food business ecosystem. Maybe another 20 minutes. I'll give the glimpse of where we are standing and how our technological input can change the lives of the people as well as the our country's economy. India, if you look at presently, we are almost number one and two most of the commodities. If you look at the food grains, we are world number two, almost 380, close to 400 million tons of the food grains. Dairy, we are already number one. Meat, poultry is number two. Marine two. Oil seed is a fourth. That's the only thing we are thinking, and we wanted to make sure coming years we wanted to become a third and even first. That's what government of India is thinking to do that. Are you able to hear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're audible, sir.
Yeah. In this scenario, yes, we are doing a very good in the agriculture sector, and thanks to the all agriculture scientists, especially the farmers who are working in the field to produce such a huge volume of food grains. One point of time, we tried to import the food grains. Now we have the surplus food grains. If you look at our FCI, we have the flooded with the rice and the wheat. Everything is there now. But can we able to convert this a value added product? Then only you can get, farmers will get the returns. This is the recent status text has been released by the KPMG. Right now, our food processing market size is a $263 billion business. It's going to be a 535 in 2025. It's an unbelievable shift from the double the size of the market size. And also our export is continuously grow, especially on the agri and food products, almost 32.5 billion in 2019. It's a continues to grow. Most of this sector is driven by the MSME. 98% of the industry is from the MSME sector. And if you look at last 2 years, the COVID period, the only segment not shown negative growth is the food processing sector. Almost 43,000 crore of our product has been exported from April to February. Ready to eat, ready to cook products increased more than 35%. That's what 90% oil meals growth rate, 40% growth in the value added product. So phenomenal growth rate what I have we have witnessed in the last 1 year because of people started taking in the ready to eat, ready to cook products, and that's what this type of growth rate we witnessed. And look at processed and semi-processed how the countries are taking. One side, if you look at India, fully processed is the 31%. We are used to take mostly raw, fresh vegetables, freshly we prepare the food. Even 3 times a meal is cooked every time in our kitchens. That's what is traditionally we follow in our country. That's what 50% comes from the raw foods and we prepare. Then 90% is the semi-processed, 31% is the fully processed. Look at Germany, 8% only raw food, 28% semi, 72% fully processed food. India also may go towards that side. You can see that China and US is almost similar to that. That's what the trend is changing. So people may accept the processed food and business also will increase. And I said earlier, our country food industry is 90% comes from the micro, medium and small industry. Among that, 25 lakh enterprises are unorganized. If you go to any states, say Delhi or Bombay or Chennai, you can find a lot of small bakery units, milling units, spice units. All these are unorganized. The traditionally family after family, they used to do the business, and they're not expanding the as expected the normally business expansion. So how to support them, how to make these enterprises to the formalized one and also come to the mainstream. That's what government of India is thinking to do that. Just now, NABARD chairman was mentioning about startups. Yes, food startups, very, very less. Out of 15,000 recognized startups in India, around 8% only comes from the agriculture sector. Among that 8%, most of them works on the artificial intelligence, robotics, and drones, all these things area only, not for the primary or secondary agriculture processing, they are not doing. That's what we need to think how best we can support them. That's what PMFME scheme, you maybe heard about it, and your university also is a part of that. And a lot of support has been given from the government of India, Prime Minister Micro Formalization of Micro Enterprises Scheme, and mainly for the support for the lagging of branding and marketing. Even our institute, people used to come to our institute, immediately they wanted to sell the product to the Singapore or US. First, you have to understand what is the consumer demand in that place. First, you make the product, just you give to your family, maybe 5 people are there, at least 3 people has to accept your product. Then you go to your street, then go to your town and expand like that. That is the market strategy. You can't jump to the unknown persons because you know very well your brother or sister how they like the food. So you prepare according to them. Then you know what is the consumer acceptance of your product. That's what you all should have the expansion plan. And based on that, my view, these are the 6 points as the mainly for the sustainability strategy for the Indian food processing industry, and in turn that will drive our Indian economy. One is the raw material availability. We have to think. One is a biggest problem is the water, and the other raw material. Food grains, yes, we able to produce quite a lot, and consumer preference, yes, I'll touch with the later, and technological input. That's what all the institutions are. We are working. We need to upgrade our existing technology. We need to modernize our technology, modernize our machineries, and the newer way of delivering the same material. And the packaging, sustainable packaging for the future, and the food safety, utmost concern for everyone, and also regulations. Always we have to keep eye on the regulations, what is happening. We'll go on, we'll see one by one raw material availability. By 2050, global population is expected to reach 9 billion. That means we need a 70% more food. Now cultivation land is the almost same, remains same for last 20 years. How we can meet out 70% more food? Big concern. We need a 80% more water. That is another concern. And we are wasting almost 1.3 billion tons of the food products are wasted in the world. But in India, 2012 data itself, 1 lakh crore worth of the food products have been wasted. Can feed it almost whole Europe. So that's what we have to think. Some of the small countries we can do such things, but wastage is also happening. This figure is a very old one, but still 2015 data, food grains is almost 270. Now we reached 370 million tons, but the gap is there. We need to reach out the 400 million tons in the 2035 when our population is expected to reach 150 crore. The same story for vegetables, milks, and fruits. So we need to increase our production and also reduce the wastage and make the value-added product. Consumer preference and the market demand. This is the important one. And now consumers are entirely different. Like 100 years back, people used to take for the food for the nutrition, and 50 years back they have taken for the earlier they have taken energy, 50 years back nutrition. Now people wanted to take food for soul, and they want a customization, nutrition, and novel product range, and ethical food choice. These are the one people are thinking on that. Nowadays brand trust also is the key element for the consumers, but how to meet out all these things, that is the great challenge in the our industry. Look at the consumer preference in the 2016 to 2020. Earlier, in 2016, clean and natural ingredient 82% population willing to take. Now it's become 86. Price, earlier low price fraud has been taken by the consumers. Now it's become a 17%. Only one decline. Now even they, what it says, even they wanted to give the higher price, even good product. All natural claims increased. Ingredient, all recognizable ingredient, if we add that also increased. And that's what market driven. One is that plant-based meat analogs is the continuously dominating in the market, and it's continued to grow. It's possible. Even we are working, Niftam Tanjavur is working with the artificial meat. It's a possible to do extrusions, spinning, all this methodology we can use, and we are using the extrusion method as well as 3D printed meat. How to make it? Yes, is you need to do the texturize the protein, you gel with the proteins, and put it all together and make it in the form of a product like what it's shown in the figure. It's possible, yes. Legumes, oil, seed, and leaf protein, we can able to make it as the good product, and that's what this Beyond Meat has been done in the excellently well, and it is almost very small startup. It started in 2009. Now, most of the countries they have the presence, and including if you look at KFC, they launched 2019 KFC Beyond Fried Chicken. That is totally based on the vegetarian. So this is what is a new look, what is coming up in the food processing sector, and Redefine Meat, another company has used 3D printed stick. You can see that how it looks almost is the excellent 3D printed meat, and this type of innovative products definitely drives this industry. And superfoods, yes, high value added products like fermented foods, green tea, hemp, chia, all these things are people wanted to buy. In US statistics, 56% population wanted to buy the superfoods, either non-dairy milks, turmeric, chia, quinoa. It's dominating in the market. Technological upgradation. Yes, these are the old technology what we are using, and baking, frying, material handling, extruder product, all are used longer time. But we need to upgrade this one. For one example, we use the frying. Text oil uptake will be more. Can we use the vacuum frying? We can reduce the oil uptake. So such type of new technological upgradation will be the better one, and the fortification and the size reduction all are is a really good one. Now drying technologies. We need to change the new technologies because dryers is always remove the moisture. Can we have a different type of dryers? For example, freeze drying, spray freeze drying, or conductive hydro drying. Even Niftam Tanjau, we are working on that. So even high hygroscopic product also can be dry using this type of products. Milk alternatives also is dominating the market. For example, soya, coconut, rice, hemp, chia. All this milk is dominating because of you're selling the water. So that's what more people wanted to buy, and that's what even we develop some of the products from the millets. When we are going to celebrate 2023 as a year of millets, this is the possibility. We developed the ice cream from the millets, and also coconut ice cream also developed. Our nutraceutical market also growing very rapidly in this, and you know that last 2 years, most of us we have taken the Zincovite and other nutraceutical tablets. If you go backside, it's not a pharma industry; it is a nutraceutical industry. That's what it is moving on. Taking the nutraceutical compounds, biomolecules from the most of the sources, and they added into the tablet form, deliver it. If you add it into the food, it's called a functional food. And nano food agri sector also is growing in the India, and 3D food printing, another technology developed by us in India, first of its kind we developed, and now a lot of people are working on it. We have brought first scientific paper in this area also, and we use the 3D printer for the probiotics, chocolates, noodles, and you can see the noodles. That noodles has been used from this 3D printer, and it's taken from the totally from the waste vegetables. We have taken, we made it the noodles form, and the mushroom also we have made it based on the snacks, and anything is possible. Customized form of so personalized product can be brought using the 3D printing, and that's what we have done. And once you make the product, you need to analyze all the things, how it is behaves in the systemic circulation. So what is the oral processing, what is happening in the stomach and intestinal, how it is the food disintegration takes place in the stomach, and how it is absorbed in the intestinal. That's called a bioavailability, bioaccessibility, both can be calculated. These are the existing designs in the globe, like stomach and intestinal system as a TNO system is approved by FDA and other systems are developed. So I wanted to develop one system for our country. So what we did, we have taken the human volunteers to scan the MRI, take the 2D image, converted 2D image into the 3D image. So we 3D printed stomach we made, and look at this is the what actual stomach contraction, what is happening there, and this the food meal goes there because of mechanical force and the biochemical reaction. Digestion is happens. Almost similar one has been kept here, and the glucose response curve you can see that almost same. Yes, sir, our human glucose. This is the what it is there right now in the Niftam Tanjavur. Earlier, our institute called as IFPT, and both stomach and intestine setup is here, and this gives the lot of insight about food molecule, how it is the transported from the oral to intestine and absorption behavior. Food safety and supply chain. Can I know who supplied the food to us? Who farmer cultivated this rice or wheat? Is it possible to get? Yes, it's possible if you use the blockchain management system. That means once farmer produces, means which is the season he is cultivated, and what is the seed, and what is the variety of the seed, and what is the fertilizer, how much amount, and what is the climatic condition, relative humidity, transported, who transported, and where the stored. Everything has been documented till it reaches to your plate. So that is the way. If you once be able to do that, one thing is advantage is that recall is possible. Something goes wrong in the product, we can recall it. That is the advantage of this. And food packaging is the another one area. Sustainable packaging is always as important. So different packaging, like you have the can, just you rotate, it's become a cooling is happens. Same thing hot also happens. Some trigger mechanism can be added, and biodegradable packaging films also can be done. And nano packaging, even Lift of Tanjavur, we are working with the nano composites to make the polymeric film as a more strength and more barrier properties. And also you can see that cotton boxes inside we put the layers, and that will act as the spoilage, and the spouting can be avoided in the potatoes are transported. And this technology has been already transferred to the industry. Industries adapted this technology, is working very well. That's what we need to put a lot of effort as an institution and the R&D team. Then we can make our produce more safe and more extended shelf life, and also more value-added product. That's what our target. And regulations, always we have to keep an eye on the regulations. Then only you can sustain in the business. And for example, government of India and also world, a lot of countries already made the double taxation, and if we add the more salt and sugar and fat. So how to go for the alternative to this, especially for the salt and sugar? How to make such type of products are there? Even we are working very close to develop that. And one thing, our dream is to make India as a world food factory. It is possible. All you and me, everybody has to join together, to work together to make that dream to come true. Because we are producing huge amount of the vegetables, fruits, grains. What is the world trade? Just I'll give the one example. Vegetables, world, our business is only 1.2%. Fruits 1.6%, and even millets, we are producing 40% of the whole world millets, but our presence is very small. 2020, what our exported is only 200 crore we exported, but what is the world trade was that 3,000 crore. Even 50% we produce, but we are unable to reach out that. That's what it's the lag is there. So we need to fill that on. So it's possible technological upgradation and thinking about the customers, what consumers want nowadays. So if you make according to that, yes, this dream can fulfill in the coming years. Thank you so much for inviting me to share my thoughts on today.
Thank you, sir, for your scholarly discourse. अब मेरा विनम्र अनुरोध है डॉक्टर तेजपाल धेवा जी से, असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ न्यूट्रिशन बायोलॉजी, कि वे हमारे आज के मुख्य वक्ता डॉक्टर मनोज कुमार त्रिपाठी के उत्कृष्ट वक्तव्य से हम सभी को रूबरू करवाएं.
Thank you, Aditi. Good morning. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce Dr. Manoj Kumar Tripathi. He is a postgraduate of biochemistry from Dr. RML University and obtained PhD in biochemistry from GB Pant University of Agriculture and Technology, Pantnagar. He is currently working as principal scientist in biochemistry at APPD ICR CIAE, Government of India, Bhopal. His major areas of professional interest include medicinal compounds, functional and nutraceutical food, probiotic food, and byproducts utilization. He has guided more than 50 PG students. He has published more than 85 research papers in international and national journal of repute, 54 book chapters, 55 popular articles, and 93 abstracts. He has authored and edited 14 books of Springer and CRC Press and 5 technical bulletins in the areas of food processing and food biotechnology. Am I audible? Hello?
Yeah, please.
Yes, sir, please. He has developed more than 25 process technology, worked on 16 national projects as PI or co-PI, or group leader of PMO based activities on fruit based carbonated beverage development. Hello, I think some problem is there.
Yeah, but now it is okay.
Now it's okay, sir, or
Yes,
we
sir.
continue?
You're audible, sir.
Yeah, please conclude.
Sir, may I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible. Please continue.
Yeah, sorry for inconvenience. Yes, please. So he has developed more than 25 process technology and worked on 16 national projects as PI and co-PI group leader of PMO based activities on fruit based carbonated beverage development. Patents apply for 6 products commercialized and many process technologies and registered genes in NCBI. Received several research grants from NASF, ICR, DST, and Ministry of Environment, and handed more than 25 administrative and experts responsibilities. He has been recipient of several prestigious awards and honors such as qualified for prestigious CSIR Shyama Prasad Mukherjee Fellowship SPM in 2002, enlisted in the top 2% scientists of the world 2021 compiled by Stanford University, published by Elsevier, ISAE Team Award 2020 by Indian Society of Agricultural Engineering, New Delhi during 55th ISAE annual convocation on November 2021. Established Scientist Award 2014, Best Scientist Award 2017, SAAR Distinguished Scientist Award in Crop Science 21 by Society for Agriculture and Allied Research India, 16 Best Presentation Awards in international and national conferences, honored as Marvelous Personality of India Award 2016 in Science, Lifetime Achievement Award 2017 by Innovative Research Chennai for outstanding achievements in the field of food processing research and publications, conferred for Innovative Food Product Development Award, Certificate of Excellence 2012, Science Being Journal Publishing Group, Dehradun, India.
Okay.
Award and Certificate of Excellence in Reviewing DRDO and Group Award for Research 2020, Certificate of Recognition, Certificate of Award 2016, and Fellow of SPS, and Executive Member of Scientific Panel of FSSAI, and working editor in chief, and he's reviewer generals. So with this, so many achievements are there, but because of time limitation, I'm directly inviting you, sir. And sir, it's a great pleasure to invite you and welcome in this program. And now we request you to deliver a talk. Party, sir, now over to you, sir. Please, sir.
Thank you, Tejpalji. My voice is clear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks for a nice introduction. And good morning, everyone. And Honorable VC Sir, Dr. G.R. Chintalal, Dr. Anand Sir, Honorable Director, and Professor Sunita Srivastava Madam, and all the organizing members, specifically Dr. Dinesh Kumar Sir, Dr. Rajesh Sir, Dr. Murlidhar, specifically Dr. Tejpal Ji, and your team and all the students. And thank you for inviting me to just share me and food processing, specifically food development aspects. And as per our Honorable Director Niptam, sir, have already concluded most of the things related to the food processing. So I will concentrate on the development portion. So if you see some of the 70% of the population in India is dependent on the agriculture and specifically on food processing. And the food production at all India level is mostly close to more than 245 million metric tons. The food processing industry is growing very fast, 13% till December 19. But when the COVID situations will arrive, this food processing is important in India. If you see the Indian geographical classifications, a very variation is there. Like eight metro cities, cities 32 in major populations, more than 1 million. Towns are there, small towns, and all these are basically most of this majority of the shown figures are just favoring the pet food consumption, and which will be the concentrated in the metro cities and towns. So the options for the pet food or food processing is really very interesting in such types of the cities. And if you see our food habits, definitely our country, different state and different region of our country have different food choice, and that is the one of the favorable options for the food industry, because India is the definitely culturally rich and diverse nation, having varied lifestyles is there, various religions is there, arts is there, culture is there, attire is there. So food is definitely there. So these all favor the food industry for development of variety of foods. If you see why this food industry and food is become the one of the consumer preference, because the trends is specifically, and mostly the growing middle class populations and household incomes are driving people to spend more money to their foods. That is the one of the driving force. They also have some lifestyle. The peoples are going several diseases. So persons are just try to overcome these diseases by use of the foods. So these lifestyle diseases also result and shift toward the healthier food options, and that is again one of the major criteria for the health enhancement of the food processing. And shifting of the food consumption preference, increasing demand is also one of the things. Increasing demand for the processed and packaged food. If you see the COVID period, most of the people believe only on the packed food. So this is again one of the changing trends for the peoples. Naturally, the peoples are learning and their willingness to the pay a premium for the value-added product, such as cheese, butter, flavored milk, and other foods which are available in the market, either in the healthy food sector or in the immune boosting food sector. So these are changing trends in consumer preference are important for the food processing industry. So if you see in some regions, I am not going to explain, but if you see in different regions of our country, like West region, mostly the food preference is the candy and confectionery. So key market for that region is the, if any person is interested in the fruit-based flavors, specifically strawberry orange, these are the key market for that particular region. If you go to the North region, they mostly prefer the wheat-based fruit. So if you go to the South regions, the biggest market is mostly chocolate and bakery products, but the highest incidence of diabetic population in India, and that leading to the consumers for the avoid of sugars and other products. That this consumers awareness and goes to the healthy foods like healthy breakfast choices. So in this region, fastest emerging market for the ready to eat and ready to cook foods are generated. If you go to East region, they mostly prefer non-oily and less spicy food. These are the some common fact which we are discussing. So their food preference is the beef and pork products are heavily consumed. Means we can just develop their choice food in particular regions, which will be again one of the positive things for the food processing industry. So food processing demands, we have already discussed. These are the some factors which enhance, which just the force to the person for the establishment of new food processing industry. If you see this functional and healthy food sector, why we are discussing? Because most of the food processing sector and most of the food development is just going to the some foods with the functional property or healthy property. So these sectors, specifically the functional food and healthy foods, nowadays become one of the important major role in this food processing. Why this food and cropping? Because this largest industry is most country. This is the important for not our country, but most of the country. The small scale food processing sector is the major source of employment. Definitely, it also add value to the crop by processing in different levels. It also major source of food in diet in different farms. In some cases, by export, by air available foreign exchange, and they also provide opportunities for the import substitution in different developed farms. So benefits of a large number of poor people like farmers, packaging suppliers, vendors, specifically some new entrepreneurs is also going on with this industry. So if you see the market size of the functional food is very huge. And in these sectors, bakery and confectionery is also there, dairy sector is also, pulse-based food is also, hemp-based food is also. So you can just see these are their growth and these are their functional foods and natural food products which is available in the markets. Although this data is increasing after the post-COVID and COVID period. So if you see these functional foods in the food processing sector is very rapid growing markets. And uh, some factors like arising about the awareness of the health, nutrition, nutraceuticals, people become aware of their fitness, aging population, and also changing lifestyle. These are fostering the market size of these functional foods. So you can imagine this is the size of the market from 2015 to 24, a huge potential and huge market probabilities there in different sectors of functional foods like vitamins, probiotic and probiotic foods, mineral rich foods, fatty acids, ingredients or supplement, dietary rich foods, and carotenoids. So this figure itself indicates that a huge potential and huge opportunities in our the food processing, specifically in functional food. If you come to the functional food category, basically three types of categories there. The basic foods, mostly these foods define the food or food product which naturally contain biotic compounds, processed foods with the added biotic compound. And these are the basically biotic does not exist naturally in the food and it's just adding during the processing conditions. Means we just fortified. And next important category, which is the predominant in the market, the food enhanced to have more biotic compound. In that cases, the biotic already exists naturally in the food, but the level of biotic, important biotic compounds are that health value compound we concentrated by several process like breeding process, by special livestock food process, genetic engineering. In some cases, we also fortified during the processing stage. So you can just see the examples of these functional food category, and most of the available foods in the markets comes in these three category. So if you see the functional food industry, means why we are asking, because the huge market is there, huge potential is there, and huge opportunities is there. If you see in functional foods, these functional foods with added biotic compounds is also available in the market, and in some cases, food with the enhanced biotic compounds is also available in the market. For example, yogurt, it's already having the probiotic property, but we also increase the probiotics nature of yogurt, which we also enhancing much and much their quality aspects. So if you see in egg and dairy sectors, several eggs with omega-3 fatty acids enhance is available. Cheese with probiotics is available. Means we have the opportunities, also opportunities to develop new products with the healthy or with the fortified with the concentrated biomolecule. Is also opportunities in eggs and dairy industry. In grain products, there are several products, such types of product available in the market, like pasta with the added dietary fibers, some cereal with the added omega-3 fatty acids are available, dietary fiber, probiotic rich products, In some cases, if you go to the market, some bread with the added omega-3 fatty acids is also available. So this indicate the huge potential. In beverage sectors, the fruit and vegetable with added antioxidant, dietary fibers, which are the important nutraceuticals ingredients, is also available. In the soya milk, one beverage, omega-3 fatty acids enhancing is also available. In some cases, if you go to the market, milk with omega-3 fatties also available. So beverage sector is also preferable. Snacks, if you go to the snack, mostly cookie with the added dietary fiber, omega-3 fatty acids. So actually, if you see in almost all the sectors, is some probability and opportunities for the different types of food products development is available. If you see in this sector condiments, the most of the margarine with the omega-3 fatties, because the things which is not present or which required their shelf life or nutritional value, you can add by the processing. So these all options are available in the market. We can just go in any and develop the need based or our wellness based food products. So now this, because this, if you see these slides, we have the several opportunities. There are at basic levels, up to farmers level, up to student level, up to entrepreneur levels. We have a huge potential of ingredients in our market as well as in our local places. So if you can just coast in this market for the health food, functional foods, or quality based product, we can just develop several food products by using this functional food ingredient like fortified margarine. Psyllium, one of the functional foods available. Soya is option is available. Whole wheat products is available. You can see these all are the full of biotic components. Means they can be just identify where we are going to formulate the food product, what they needed, and after that we can just choose the options. If plant sterol and stenol rich food is required, you can use this ingredient. Soluble fibers, you can just psyllium used. If protein and other isoflavonoid compounds best food product we require to formulate, soya is a good option. In some cases, the biotic compound like B-glucan, whole wheat products can be used. And you can also, so all have the reported and established their health value products. So other option is like fatty fishes, garlic, green tea, cranberry juices. Everyone just categorized in the functional foods because of having a huge amount of biotic component in different natures, and all have already established to their health and clinical roles. So we can develop a different variety of the health related foods or functional foods or healthy foods by using these functional food ingredients. So you can see huge amounts of options like spinach, collard greens, tomato, and processed cruciferous vegetable, fermented dairy products is also, and all have the lutein, gentinin, lycopene, biotic component, probiotics component. So each and every these food products at basic level, at industry level, have a huge potential to develop healthy as well as functional food products. And why with these slides is there? Because nowadays two things are very important. Every food industry or nutraceutical industries are just searching for the CVD diseases, cardiovascular diseases and diabetes. So we have already some functional foods in our daily uses are in the huge quantities available, which can be used for the formulations of healthy foods for the CVD, like soybean. Soybean having soya protein, isoflavone, and both have the mechanism, both have the potential to lowering blood cholesterol, also inhibit the LDL oxidation, and so they can be used for the formulation of cardiovascular diseases favoring our foods. Oats is also one of the important foods in our daily uses, having the high soluble fibers beta glucan, and it is also established they reduce cholesterol absorption. It can be also useful in CVT diseases. Flax seeds, they are rich of the omega-3 fatty acid and lignin, and that are already established to lowering the cholesterol, blood cholesterol. So we can use this component and to the formulation of functional food and healthy food. So you can imagine we have several ingredients with the several functional component, and our formulations and developments through the food processing can be just truthful and fruitful for the development of such types of diseases like garlic, tea, nuts, grapes, and grape juice all have a very rich functional food components with the several clinical established property. So we can use this for the formulation of cardiovascular diseases, friendly or healthy foods for that particular diseases. One other is the important things which our communities, our food processing, our food sector is just searching the food development for the diabetic person. Where if you see the functional foods oat, they have the huge amount of biotic component, and all these biotic components are very much favorable for the anti-diabetic property. Like they reduced postprandial glycoma, improved glycemic index, insulinemia, response in person with the diabetes. So we can use this functional food component for the formulation. Rice there. They have a huge amount of phenolic acid, tannin, benzoic acid. Whole wheat is there. Soybean is there. If you see, all are rich of biotic components and well established clinical role. So these are the very useful for the food processing or the new entrepreneur for the development of such useful healthy foods. Now cinnamon is also there. People's if you saw cinnamon, they have very good biotic component. Flavonoids is there. Turmeric is there with a huge amount of flavonoids. Fenugreek is also developed with the high alkaloid saponin, and these all have very good anti-diabetic property in the forms of insulin sensitivity, are the control of glucose lipid antioxidant metabolisms, are anti-inflammatory effects. In case fenugreek is very good from the controlling glycemic control. So these are one of the important options for the new entrepreneurs, for the new food development in these sectors. If you see these some naturally immune boosting foods which is already established during the COVID-19. So these again come to the very good sectors for the new food products like apple. They established the anti-inflammatory effective, blackberry anti-inflammatory, anti-proliferative properties established, blackcurrant, blueberry. So after post during this COVID or post COVID, the huge demand of the immune boosting foods. We can just develop the foods with the by help of this immune boosting property rich food products. So the cherry is also established, cocoa is also established, cranberry is established, grape is established, pomegranate is established. These all are the established for the different immune boosting through antibody formations, or the immunomodulatory role, or the antioxidant role, or antimicrobial role. So the thing is that how can we control, how can we just use for the new formulations for the food processing industry. These are again one of the vegetables and fruit options like broccoli, carrot, mango, spinach, sweet potato, tomato. So we have a huge options at our farm level, and it can be one of the options to develop a healthy food or functional foods and may establish the entrepreneurships or the industries. If you see, there are several functional food segment is there in our country. If you see, there are many important main players are like there is there like multifunctional foods. They are just food companies are like Nestle, Donek, Unilever, and the huge food company in this sector is there, and they are also developing several functional food products like probiotic, yogurt, dahi is there. Dairy and pharmaceuticals products in main players there is also in there. They are in the form of nutraceuticals. Some national leaders in the is also there in the market like Amul, ITC, Britannia, and they are also developing several food products like dairy products, fruits, vegetable juice, biscuits in the market. Small and medium sized companies are also there. Some retail companies is also there, and functional food and functional food compound developing ingredient developing compound companies also there. So these are some main players. So you can imagine this food processing sector is a huge potential. And if you see some functional food in Indian markets, like Amul is there, Nestle is there, PepsiCo is there, Britannia is there, and they are just developing several variety of foods like energy drinks, yogurt and drinks, health drinks, frozen ice cream drinks. In Nestle specifically, the yogurt and drink and the infant drink. So these all brand food companies in India are playing a very important role, and this indicates the future and opportunities of the food processing industry. Some food companies like Dabur, Perfecti, Milai, Yakut, Danone, and Godrej, Patanjali, these are also one of the important core food functioning. Like they are just developing food for the food wellness. In some in confectionery, some in directly foods, drinks, some in pharmaceutical and nutraceuticals foods. In some company, they are developing foods in the beverage farms, in soybean farm, in Patanjali is also working in this. So we have a huge potential, huge companies which are working on these sectors. If you see some common food products, specifically for the functional like Happy Den, Chyawanprash, Hajmola, and Shilajits and digestive food. These all are the food component. They can be developed in the foods with the medicinal value or in the Ayurvedic brands. So if the person is just ready and observe all the things, all their property, and we can just we can just develop a new entrepreneurs. We can just develop so or promote the farmers to the to basic level food products development can be very much uh, possible as well as the very much essential as well as very much needed this of this time. So what are the different competition in food processing sector? If you see, there are different sector like dairy sector, cereal sector, fruit sector. Some already some of the companies are the predominant. Like in dairy sectors, the dominated by the regional cooperative like Gujarat, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Rajasthan, and Punjab. The regional cooperatives are dominant. In case of the Amuls in this dairy industry, they have very good markets. Nandini in Karnataka cooperative is also market, and their presence is also in South India. Some, if you see these competitions, Amul captures nearly 85% of the butter market, 75% of cheese market. So some competition is there, but this opportunities is also is there. And these are the some companies in our country which are mostly working on the this dairy industry. Like Gujarat Cooperative, Karnataka Milk Federation, National Dairy Development Board, Nestle. So the persons can also collaborate. The person can also initiate their small business with the help of these industry also. There is also competition in the fruit and vegetable processing. Like if you see the processed farms of fruit and vegetable in India include mostly in jam farms, in juice farm, in pickles farm, in chutney farm, and fruit concentrate farm. These are the some processed farm of the fruit vegetable industry. In fresh and fruit vegetable market, if you see in India, is very highly organized with the basically in the local markets, in wholesaler and intermediary with the directly to the consumer. So this processed food from these vegetables has a huge potential. So if you see the with potential to become one of the largest producers of the fruit vegetable, coupled with the assembly low levels of processing, India offer huge potential from the international company. I mean, we can just start out the business with the small market, like just develop the jams, juices, pickles, chutney, and fruit concentrate, and we can just initiate to the big companies. So if you see, these are the some companies in these sectors like Hull, Mother Dairy, Pia Foods, Ceramics in the different major with the different foods, major food products is there. So these all are the working in the different food, basic food products in the markets. If you go to the meat, poultry, and marine processing, they are again a very highly fragmented industry, and with only a handful of large players is there. So Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, Delhi are the basic key area of processed food availability in the meat, poultry, and marine process. So if you see with this industry, poultry is again one of the important poultry processing options for the fast growing segment. So you can also go and think about this processing industry. So these are the some companies who are working with the different developing different major products with the using of this ingredient. So you can see these are the available company in our country. Again, the competitions in the grain and seed processing also there. Basically, if you see the grain processing, which include mostly milling of rice, wheat, pulses, seed processing basically include the extraction of oil, edible and industrial process. And it is again highly fragmented industry. And with thousands of rice hullers, flours, pulse mills, and ghanis in oil refineries operating in every part of country. So competition in organized segment is also intense, but you can just think this grain and industry, and because this primary processing is most important activity in this segment. So secondary and tertiary processing is limited to few large players. So this may be one of the options, maybe one of the options for the new players or new entrepreneurs or new farmers coming in these types of processing industry. So these are the some companies name where these players are available in our country. Kellogg's is there, ITC is there, and Cargill Nature Fresh is there. So we can also imagine these are their major products. And if you see the competition in consumer food processing, why this occur? Basically, in consumer foods is a highly cooperative industry in the India with presence of large national and international companies. Definitely, if you see the Britannica, Parle, and ITC, they just capture 90% share of biscuit industry. Perfecta is 70%, really equal to the 70% of confectionery market. Nestle, which is one of the big players, with the Maggi brand, is also major market leader in the noodles. Coca-Cola and Pepsi. So if you see these competition in these market, but this ready to eat and ready to cook segments have a large untapped potential. This is a huge potential. And if you imagine in the COVID period, everyone just asked and required the ready to eat and ready to cook, cooked pet food. So this consumers foods and consumers behavior also favor for the potential to goes in this development, and they have the huge potential to development of ready to eat, ready to cook, and other food as well as food supplements. So these are the some industries where this sector is also working, like Nestle is there, Parle Agro is there, perfect, huge and major players are there. But persons, it can be also opportunities to develop several types of food product by formulating with the using some health ingredient and other locally ingredient and come to in these sectors. So if you see, these are the some competition, but there are some challenges at the scientific level where we are working, because when we are just developing the foods are functional foods are healthy foods, we just the people who are working in this area, they possess some basic problem, like the maintaining of the sensory attributes after the development and after the packaging, is one of the problems, where they are enhancing product size and smell, optimizing Texas, we are just going. Stabilization of product ingredient. In most of the cases, we are just using some biotic compound, but their stability is problem. After the formulation or after the several steps of the processing, it is not necessary to maintain the same level or same functionality of this biotic compounds. So this is one problems we suffering in the industry. The functional food component role in the body. Basically, we just use some functional food components, some biotic component in the foods, and we just in vitro study we got some result. But when we goes to the in vivo study, as Honorable Director Niftam asked, that the different systems in the body is different from the in vitro system. So this is again problem, how much efficient, how much their availability inside the body is there. So this is one of the problems the food industry or food processing industry is facing in the development of some functional compounds. And these are some challenges also in the functional food processing, to just enrich phytosterol rich products, isoflavone rich products, dietary fibers or prebiotic rich products, because of some problems. Probiotics products, although we are developing, but these are some problems, and we are also just overcoming this problem. But these are some problems. And in case of the vitamin-rich products, the poor stability and activity loss due to the heating is also problem. So these are some problems which we just take address, we just take care during the product development for the food processing. So these are some government incentives for the food processing industry sector is also going on, and the Ministry of Food Processing is also taken several initiatives to promote the growth of industry, like tax release, relaxed FDI norms, and easy funding. So if you can see, these all are the factors which can be favored and which can be useful to establishment of the food processing sector. So if you see, these are some other government incentive for like focus on infrastructures is also one of the important factor where the government is working, like development of, they are just developing in infrastructure development, specifically they are setting several mega food parks, agri export zones, cold chains, warehouses, and these are one of the important steps of the government which just take with the very much favors are useful for the food processing industry. Government is also pushing R&D for the these food processing sectors. Also, some private sector make the policy to the much and entrepreneurs in private sector friendly to they just come to the this industry. There are several international agreements joined by the Indians, and that is very much important for the food, helpful for the food industry. So India is a member of more than 65 international organizations which are just helping to our food processing industry. So you can see these are the list. So thus India has become a funding member of a number of international organizations, and hence export significance, influence on the policymaker, and finally it will be very much useful. It will be grateful to the this food processing industry for the establishment of newcomers, students, entrepreneurs, and farmers to establish our industry in this food processing sector. So this is one of my view. What can we just promote? How can we improve the situations in the food processing sector after this post COVID-19? So we can just this is my personal feeling that we can, if you improve these things, we just take care of these things. Definitely, our food industry will be beneficial. Like bring some policy decision and help this sector grow, which will be the sustained farming sector of India. Also declare food processing sector as extension and agriculture sector at huge level. Also initiate the farmers marketing organizations. Encourage our young researchers, specifically student level and new entrepreneur levels and farmers to go for the processing. Farmers process produce can brought to a market directly and favors for the different limitations. And ministry can bring some more incentive for the R&D organization to boost the R&D activities and at basic and advanced level. In current situation, all the government schemes should be the more practical implementation in light of the COVID-19. So these all action plan will be very much helpful in the food processing industry. Finally, just I come to one conclusions. If you see, India is one of the largest food producer in the world in several sectors and offer vast opportunities to the food processing company. Its priority sector status and significant support from the government, and it is very attractive sector for the investment, either the established company or the just the people who start their business. So if the food processing sectors definitely has a huge potential to come back and also supports our farmers. Thus, the proper planning and policy intervention, India can become again the biggest kitchen of the world. So finally, if you just take care all these things, definitely these slogans come in the true Baujan Sukai and Baujan Hita. And thanks to all to for giving these opportunities to present my view or some research in the area of the food processing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. आपका बहुत धन्यवाद. Now, I request Mr. Nishan Singh, Assistant Professor, Department of Printing and Packaging, Central University of Haryana, to formally introduce our invited speaker, Dr. Shashikant Sarangam.
Thanks, Aditi, for giving this opportunity to introduce Shri Shashikant Sarangam sir. Moving ahead, Shashikant sir has done a lot of work. He is having vast experience in the field of food engineering. Taking about his biodata, in fact, there is a long list of achievements that he is having, but I would like to introduce our esteemed speaker in a short period of time. Shashikant sir has done his BTech in Food Science Technology from Angrao, Bapatla, Master in Food Processing Engineering from Haryana University, and PhD in Food Engineering from NIFTM. He is specialized in Food Processing Engineering and Technology. He is having 9 years of teaching experience, and he is also a certified internal audition for ISO IEC. He has been the member of BOS in defining curriculum of various courses. He has published more than 10 national or international research papers with two book chapters. He has published more than 10 national international research paper with two book chapters. He has also guided more than 50 MTech students in the field of food technology. Currently, he is working as an assistant professor and head of food testing laboratory in Jawaharlal Nehru Technology University, Andhra Pradesh. So we welcome you in the webinar. Thank you. Over to you, sir. Please.
Thank you, Nishanji, for your brief introduction. So let me share the screen. Yeah. I won't take much of the time. Why? Because already some of the speakers they have covered. I think all the things whatever I need to cover. So without delay, I am going to. Yeah. Can you able to see my screen? No. No. Yeah. Can you able to see? If it is so, you can mark it as S. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for the confirmation. So I don't want to give a brief discussion of everything what Tripathi sir told, what Anand Ramakrishnan sir has told. So we are in the same sector as a food sector. So I will move a little bit fast. Why? Because I have seen from the starting I have seen so many multidisciplinary students are there here. Electrical, based on electrical background, based on MSc food chemistry, and some of my students are also there. MTech food processing technology students are also there. So I want to give an as a whole thing. The food is not specific for the food technologists who have done their masters or who have done their phds. Food is for everyone. It is unique for everyone. Ultimately, whatever we are going to do, we have to end up with having a good food. So in this particular session, I want to means I want to combine both the agriculture as well as the food sector into a single picture. So in order to know the initiatives given or the schemes given by different sectors of government, Indian government sector, and we will compare our scenario, our agricultural sector with the other foreign countries, what they are implementing and how they have been successful. So and I want to give a brief statistics of how the present food industries are and what are the innovations. In innovations part, as an electrical engineers, as these coordinators, I have seen so many electrical engineers are there. So that you can able to make into a multidisciplinary, you can able to give your contributions to the food sector too, in order to make into a huge or a vast thing. So in a brief, I am going to give an overview on research, innovation and technology transfer in both agricultural as well as the food sector. I don't want to take much of your time. I will make it into a much convenient and short. So as we have seen that some of the best schemes which a particular agriculture or a food sector can able to take is in Indian initiatives. That is, one is the Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana. So from that you can able to have a number of entrepreneurs, entrepreneurship development, as well as the you can able to excel your startups also by using this particular scheme. So which we used to call it as raftar, that is nothing but the remunerative approach for agriculture and as well as the allied sectors in regeneration. Means you want to regenerate, you want to showcase your skills, all these are needed. So that is what achieve lab to land. So that is from agriculture to the table. If you by promotion of new technologies, that new technologies we will discuss at last. So what are the things that agri startups need to be done? Promote innovation, entrepreneurship and business creation also should be there. Create employment. Ultimately, if you are going to have a startups, entrepreneurships, micro scale or small scale industries, if you are developing, ultimately the youth job opportunities also will be enhanced. Each and everything will be interlinked. So promote integrated approach for technology acquisition in order to improve the R&D as well as the commercial technology part of it, as well as facilitate agri startup ecosystem by supporting including the technical aspects as well as the legal aspects, as some Anand Ramakrishna sir or Tripathi sir has covered. What are the regulatory aspects need to be followed? As pertaining to the food, we need to follow certain regulations or guidelines also. That is Food Safety Standard Authority of India. Some regulations or rules will be given. Bureau of Indian Standards, certain rules will be given. Agricultural marketing, certain rules will be given. If you want to export our product to the other countries, APEDA, MPEDA, marine produce agricultural marine as well as agricultural produce export development authorities are there. So Export Inspection Council, especially for the marine produce, all these are the various legality aspects or the rules need to be followed. Intellectual property rights, IPRs, that is either a copyright or a patent or anything, if you are going to take, that need to be represented for these particular startups. So pure R&D proposals for the academic pursuits, as well as some examples of byproduct utilization that has been covered. I no need to cover for that. So as an indicative, these are the thirst areas. Some CEs can able to communicate with as an electrical engineers. You can able to use these IoTs as well as information communication technologies in agriculture. Supply chain management. You have seen the blockchain management technology also that can be used. Nutraceuticals you have seen last lecture only. As well as agri value chains and precision farming, agri-food. See, it is not consigned to only particular food sector. It is a multidisciplinary. As I told that biotechnology, bioinformatics, post-harvest processing, agri-food processing. So this is not pertaining to one area. As the stomach you have seen, the artificial intelligence in agriculture also can be used. As like in food sectors, agriculture also can able to use the artificial intelligence technologies also. So these are some of the government sectors which they can able to support with the various forms of schemes also. So IARI, that is most commonly known as Indian Agricultural Research Institute, which is in Delhi, New Delhi, that also will act as a knowledge partners. If you are feel like I want certain technology support or technology transfer support, all these are various organizations, reputed organizations in India that will be helpful for. So National Institute of Agriculture Extension Management, commonly called as manage, which is in Hyderabad, and National Institute of Agricultural Marketing, which is in Jaipur. And as I told in my previous slides, India is supporting this in form of Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, RKVY. So RAFTER, as I told, that remunerative approaches for agriculture and allied sectors in rejuvenation of the agricultural business persons who want support or a startup, as they have provided 7.45 crores for these particular knowledge partners who are having a thirst in being an entrepreneur or a startup things. So in agricultural business ideas also, they are funding around 300 lakh in 2019 to 20 data I am telling. So they are much the funding also much abruptly increases as the startups and entrepreneurs or the micro scale level persons are increasing rapidly. So these are the things I want to show. And this is a best idea that has been that has been successfully implemented in the foreign university, foreign schools, or they have successfully done that. So what school gardens are, we have to teach from small age for each and every children about how to grow, how to get enough yield, what is the use of vermicompost over the use of the pesticides. So teaching students to think about out of box, and they will try to know what is the nutrition part of it. So most of the people nowadays in India also, most of them are suffering with malnutrition. So that will be eradicated by implementing 100% in each and every school, in each and every state. They have to make it as a mandatory that school garden should be there. So the students are only the farmers there. They will grow themselves. They will use the vermicompost instead of using various pesticides or herbicides or fungicides. So this has been successfully implemented in foreign universities. In our Indian also, in 2019 they have given a implementation of these particular school gardens in each and every school as a curriculum based thing also. So what is the status of where our particular food industry is there? As I told that make each and every one youth or entrepreneur, each and every children or young person into a thing. So there is a nice saying I can able to say, I saw a hungry man, I taught him how to fish. So instead of feeding the hungry man, if you are going to teach a skill how to grow or how to make into a thing, then it will be a far better. So where the status of the particular food industries are. So as we know that food processing sector is a sunrise sector which has been grown hugely or vastly. So in 2024, it can be anticipated that particular food sector will grow up to 33 billion investments and generate employment. So as I told in my previous slides also, youth employment will be increased. So employment ultimately increases to 8 million people in our particular food sector only. So in India process only 10%. So this number need to be increased. Only out of 100%, only 10% of its agricultural output we are processing. So rest of the things, how much waste we are generating, the figure also, it will make you surprised very much. So that much percent we are wasting also. So in food processing industry, on an average, the fixed capital per registered factory is 6.10 crores on an average. So it will go up to 1.5 crores also on a very small scale, and it goes as high as 100 crores also as a large scale. So as per annual survey industries, almost highest number of registered factories are located in Andhra Pradesh, as well as followed by Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Punjab, as well as Maharashtra. So 14.41% of the registered factories are there, which is the highest number in India. So this is the supply chain in food processing industries. So it starts with the farming as an agriculture. It starts along with the secondary. It can be a primary processing, it can be a secondary processing, it can be a tertiary processing, and then it goes to the distribution chain, and it goes to the retailer form. So in each and everything, as the processes, it can be incubated or it can be innovated, and then we can able to scale up the process, and then we can able to commercialize that. So that is what the technology transfer is all about. So if you look into our particular export and import data, the value of processed food, whatever the 10% only, whatever we are processing, the 10% processed only, the value which we are getting is 32.73 billion, accounting for 10.4% of Indians total exports. If you are going to take the Indian total exports of 313.36 billions, in that 10% we are contributing, only we are processing 10%. So if we are processing also very huge, the contribution of exports will be also very huge. So while importing, we are importing around 19.6764 billions US dollars. So which is 4% of the overall import which we are having. The overall import in our Indian is 474.71 billions. So this structure already it has been covered. See, the storage losses. You can't able to imagine how much we are losing every year. So that is 92,651 crore per annum. We are having a loss due to various forms of things which we can't able to have in our particular farm sector. My only request to each and everyone is that as an electrical engineer or a computer science or an MSc food chemistry, they can play their own role in utilizing these particular waste into a value added products. So the storage losses are also much at a higher phase. So in order to avoid this, some of the challenges for the food processing sector, blockchain technology or the supply chain infra gaps will be there. You have to fulfill that. Inadequate link between the production and processing, 100% your effort will be there in order to see little bit. It is growing day by day. The food sector is growing day by day. That's why we are going to call it as a sunrise sector. Inadequate focus on the quality and safety standards. As I told that in Indian scenarios, we are following n number of regulations, FSSA, BIS, n number of regulations we are following, and that need to be aligned also. So lack of product development and innovation, this is lacking very huge when compared with the others. So these are some of the challenges that food sector is facing nowadays. So what drives, as they have covered, this nutraceuticals and functional foods need to be implemented. I don't want to go in depth of all these technologies. Why? Because they are not much relevant to your particular part. So for nutraceuticals, it can be omega 3 fatty acids, it can be whatever the probiotics, all this comes under the functional foods as well as the nutraceuticals. Nuclear families as well as the working women need to be increase in spending on food products, valuable food products, not the junk based food products. Increasing urbanization, also changing demographics, all this will help in order to drive this particular food processing sector. If food processing sector ultimately increases, agriculture will be in allied with the food processing sectors. So this is my last slide which I want to show as a thing. As an electrical engineers, all these they can have their own way of seeing these particular advanced food processing technologies like high pressure processing. In high pressure processing, we are going to use 400 to 600 megapascals, so that energy need to be consumed. You can able to implement all these various forms of technologies. You can use your electrical department or various multi disciplinary departments in order to develop a much feasible product other than these particular high processing technologies. Frozen food technology, vacuum drying, as Anand Ramakrishnan sir has mentioned, vacuum drying technique. Why? Because what is the use of using this vacuum drying technique? We can able to reduce 50 to 80% of the fat. Fat will be reduced in the food by having a vacuum drying frying. As frozen food technology, individual quick freezing is can be used. Electrical impedance spectroscopy, by the use of electrical impulses, you can have a, which is a non-destructive process, which you can able to use this EIC technique in the food processing, as well as the cold plasma and pulsed electric field. Here we can able to use a wide range, 10 to 80 kilowatt per centimeter of these particular various depending upon whether it is a liquid food or a solid food, we can able to use these particular advanced food processing techniques, and it can be scaled up. Or the you can able to have these technologies and you can able to scale up, and you can become a small or a large scale entrepreneur scale or an MSME type. So thank you. Without you're having your lunch time, all these things, so I don't want to be in much brief. So whatever the thing I have presented. Thank you all.
थैंक यू सर, थैंक्स अ लॉट। तो चलिए बढ़ते हैं इस समारोह की अंतिम कड़ी की ओर। मेरा विनम्र आग्रह है मिस रेणुका जी से कि कृतज्ञता ज्ञापन और समारोह की विधिवत पूर्णता हेतु अपना संबोधन दें।
Voice is not audible.
Ma'am, you're not audible. Please unmute yourself.
Unmute yourself. रेणुका का मैसेज आ रहा कि वो अनम्यूट नहीं कर पा रही, तो आई थिंक वी रिक्वेस्ट आवर आईटी टू गिव एक्सेस ऑफ अनम्यूटिंग।
ये कैसे होगा?
Yes, ma'am. Now you're audible.
Okay. Now am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Thank you, Miss Aditi, for giving me this golden opportunity, and sorry for inconvenience. A warm and graceful afternoon to our Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. G.R. Chintala, Management Committee, dear teachers, my dear friends, and everyone joined this webinar. It's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks and acknowledge the contribution of those who really worked hard to make this event possible. I, Renu Karani, on behalf of Central University of Haryana and the entire fraternity of the university, extend my sincere thanks to the Almighty for making today's event a grand success. On behalf of my university, I extend a hearty vote of thanks to our chief guest, Dr. G.R. Chintala, who spared time from his busy schedule to grace the occasion. Today, we had an opportunity to hear our thoughts, sir, and this will surely encourage us in all our future endeavors. Your thoughts have enlightened our mind and have shown us a new path. Thank you so much. I also want to thank our guest of honor, Dr. Anand Sarmakar, for his active participation in our event. You truly made this day enlightening for us, sir. Your deep and intellectual way of imparting knowledge has added to the glory of this event. Today, we have got a lot of information which will truly help us in our life. We have no words to offer gratitude for your valuable time, sir. You gave deep insight in topics and revealed some important truths. Thank you so much, sir. A special welcome to Fraternity Captain Sri Samkeshwar Kumar, sir, for being the catalyst that stimulated us to do our best. Thank you so much, sir. An event like this cannot happen overnight. The wheels started rolling weeks ago. It requires planning and a bird's eye for detail. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by a convener like you, Professor Sunita Srivastava, ma'am. We are very grateful to you, ma'am, for making this event possible. Thank you so much, sir. And even like this, cannot happen overnight. The wheels started rolling weeks ago. It requires planning and a bird's eye for detail. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by a convener like you, Professor Sunita Srivastava, ma'am. We are very grateful to you, ma'am.
Unfortunately, due to some technical glitch, I suppose the video has stopped and we are not able to establish connection with Miss Renuka. Nonetheless, let's move ahead. Now, as our webinar heads towards conclusion, I request all of you to please stand for the national anthem and pay homage to our beloved nation. I request the ICT section to play the national anthem.
अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you all. You may please take back your seats. मैं आप सभी का तहे दिल से धन्यवाद करना चाहूंगी. I thank you all for sparing your valuable time and lending a ear to all the dignified speakers present today. And most importantly, making this national webinar a huge success. Thank you.
Thank you, Aditi. बहुत अच्छा.
Thank you, ma'am.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Aditi. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.